Welcome to the PP. On today's episode, we're going to talk about everything I've learned 1 year into podcasting. I plan on breaking this down into a bunch of bite-sized segments, such as starting, why to do it, leverage, the money, production, statistics, and some super top secret stuff you're not going to want to miss. But yeah, we'll just literally get started right into it. I'm recording this literally the last day of 2024, jumping into 2025. Whenever I started this podcast, we'll start, like I said, with the first chapter, starting. Whenever I started this, like anybody, it was literally just a thought. It was a seed, if you will. And this is what I refer to as the tree analogy. It's just a seed. It's literally just an idea. When you start something, all it is a seed planted in your head. Is it from God? Who knows? Who knows where it's from? But it is simply a seed. It's not watered. It's not planted. None of it. That's all it was. So for me, in the beginning of, late 2022, early 2023, that's all it was. It was just a seed, just a thought. The longer I sat on that seed, the more I was like, man, it's all it is a seed. The tree will never grow if you never plant it, if you never water it, if you never nurture it, if you never take care of it. And I got so just, I don't know how to explain it. I had to do this thing because who knows? Maybe it might be an oak tree. Maybe it might be a pine tree. I don't know what kind of tree it's going to be, but I can't even see if I can get this thing to grow if I don't ever plant it, if I don't ever take the time to nurture it, if I don't, who knows what it could be? It could literally be anything. I mean, yeah, you do know kind of the seed, but that's not my point. My point is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So what do I mean by starting? Just start. Just do it. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether it be stocks, whether it be a business, whether it be a family, do your best to start. It doesn't matter what it is. The only thing you can do is starting. And the more you do, the more you will learn. So essentially, that's it. That's the tree analogy. You just start. You just have to do it. And to give you a little bit more of my story, that seed was planted late 2022, early 2023. And I didn't even record my first episode until August 13th of 2023. And in 7 months, I had recorded 37 episodes, which is a lot. And you'll understand why it's a lot after I explain some of the process that I went through in recording these episodes. Because like anything, when you start something, you should come up with a plan. Most people who start a podcast don't even last 10 episodes because they don't have a plan. So I'm like, I'm not that stupid. I got a plan. I'm going to be successful. Boy, was I correct. That's a joke. I was absolutely wrong. In 7 months, I created 37 episodes and I deleted all but 12. I deleted all of them and only kept 12. Reason being is because it sucks to start, but you also suck when you start. It may seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first, and you may not even realize it. So with that, my plan was to basically for the entire year not just do 10 episodes and fizzle out like everybody else. I wanted to be successful, and like I said, I was, and we'll get to actually kind of why I was later on. But it's been rough. The thing is just because you make a plan doesn't mean that plan is going to happen the way you planned it. I always say this, the 4 steps to any plan is you make a plan, you execute the plan, you expect the plan to go off the rails, and then you just throw away the plan. Because that's actually how it goes. And as I was doing it, my dad gave me my Uncle Ben moment. My dad is not passed, so that's good. But he told me a lot of things, and he said, son, life is pain. You can either have pain now or pain later, but either way, there will be pain. And the only thing you get to do is choose when. So essentially, after making 37 of these episodes and deleting all but 12, that hurt. That was a lot of time spent, a lot of time lost in doing all of this. But I learned a lot. I learned what works, what doesn't work. In planning out all of those future episodes, I was planning for stuff that I hadn't even learned. So it was kind of like posting an episode in March with all the stuff that you've learned since August, right? Like, think about that. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. If you're learning from all your failures and all of your episodes up until this point, you've already recorded in August and you're posting in March, there's going to be a lot learned, and it's going to be embarrassing when you go to post in March. So, like, still with that, the same segment of starting, going live is scary. So it's like August, September, October, November, December, you record all of these episodes, and then boom, you post your first one, which, by the way, if you're doing podcasting or if you're comedy or music or whatever it is, just don't post your first one. Don't do anything with your first one. Just let it be, let it fade away, or maybe record it and lock it up in a vault somewhere, because your first one's gonna suck. Don't invite your friends and family. I know you're excited. Just don't let them see what you're doing. Don't tell anybody about it. Just leave it be. Let it be what it is. It sucks to start, and you suck when you start. So just take that advice, okay? But it is scary going live.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
When you're recording these, before they're ever posted, you're successful. You're like, man, I got a podcast. I'm doing it. I'm making it. But now going live, terrifying thing, because now you are out into the public. You're in the public's eye. You got their perception. Whatever you receive from them dictates your videos, and you do kind of like let it affect you personally, which you shouldn't, right? But it's like going like on stage, on comedy, right? You're either gonna get laughs or you're gonna get booed off. It's one or the other. Going live is a scary thing, and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because the only way to actually water that tree and nurture it is through failure, finding out what doesn't work so you can figure out what does work, which this is a lesson for later on. But like, learn from your lessons, write them down, because time's gonna pass, and memory and the power of the lesson learned, it's gonna fade away. I don't care who told you or why you think your mind is a steel trap, but you're wrong. Write the lesson down. The next thing we're going to go into is the why. The why can be all kinds of different things. My main thing is kind of like, why to do it. Why should you do this thing? Well, the thing is, I don't know. I truly don't know. There's a saying, he who knows his why can bear almost any how, and it's true. It's true up to a certain extent, because that why do you feel the way you do? You may not know the answer. Oh, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it because I have a business. I'm doing it because I want to make money. I'm doing it because I really am passionate about this. I'm doing it because I want to help people. You can have all kinds of different whys. But when you're in the trenches and you've been doing it for a long time, sometimes that why gets blurred. And it's kind of like, you can bear almost anyhow, you start questioning it. You maybe find a new why. So the saying, he who knows his why can bear almost anyhow, does work. It does work up to an extent, but at some point, man, you just got to get it done. Your why, you don't have to always understand why. You just have to get the work done. There's a saying I like to say, it's vision and capital. You must be stubborn on your vision, but negotiable on the details. So it's like when you have this thing that you want to do, right? You don't know what it's going to be. Like I said, you have to water it and nurture it to see what that tree is going to be. But as you're doing that, you're going to fail. But always keep that vision. If your long-term goal is to help people, to have money, to be able to pay other people, to give people joy, to make them laugh, smile, to help your family, whatever it is, be stubborn on that vision. Like with the PP, what I want to do, I want to hit it long term, right? I want to be able to do this full time. I want to help people. I want to have employees so I can pay them really well to be able to do this more often. I have so much other creative stuff that I want to create through this podcast, and this is literally just an avenue to get me in that direction. There's, like, for instance, There is charitable stuff that I want to do. And this isn't like, all hunky-dory or anything. Like, I want to make money like anybody. But like, there's just so many things that I want to do. And that's why my podcast is not like, I'm all about golf, I'm all about soccer, I'm all about football, or just, I know I'm using sports, but it's not all about one thing, because I am not all about one thing. This is really a creative outlet for me to figure it out. Well, not to figure out what I want to do. I want to do podcasting or this, but it's a way for me to express myself, to bring joy to other people, whether that's education, whether that's happiness. I'm still figuring it out. I don't fully know my why. I just know what my long-term vision is. So like I said, you must be stubborn on vision and negotiable on details. There is tips that like niches make riches, and if you can like bog yourself down into a specific topic like business or finance, or gaming, you'll do well, you'll grow more, but we'll leave that for the next section. The other thing on your why is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So when you're doing these videos, like, what's the reason behind why you're doing it? For yourself personally, but also for your audience, for the people that watch these. I don't even fully know who watches these videos. I'm just appreciative that anyone watches these videos, to be honest. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of effort. I want to grow this. I want to continue to keep doing this, and I would like to help people. I don't know if that's laughing, smile, or financially, or whatever it is, but I would like to help people in some form or fashion. Because at the end of the day, it does also help me. It's I don't know how to explain it. This is something I felt compelled to do, and I have to do it. I have to get it done. But outside of that, that's pretty much the why. I mean, you can come up with a mission statement if you want. I mean, I tried to. My mission statement was to create valuable and entertaining media that helps people, whether it's laugh, cry, or feel inspired, because that's what makes a good video. That sounds crappy, right? It just doesn't sound very good. But yeah, I'm still figuring it out, and you don't have to have everything figured out all at the same time. It's kind of like a compass. You don't have to know what, and I've said it in multiple videos if you've been watching the channel for any time, you don't have to know what direction to go in. You just have to know what better is, and better will point you in the right direction. So now that we talked about you starting and your why, let's talk about leverage, what you can do. We talked about niches to make riches, like you can lock down on a specific topic, but leverage, that's the word I want to use, because leverage can be how you can grow huge. Okay, leverage could literally mean anything. You could be 6 feet tall, you could be 4 feet tall. Either way, you have leverage in one way or another. You could be big, small, short, tall, it does not matter. At some point, you do have leverage. Think about a point in the middle and two ends of a seesaw. The bigger person's going to make that thing go down. The other side, that smaller person, is going to go up, right? So in that point, who is the winner? Is it the big person or the small person? It's all about perspective. But one way or another, whether you're small or big, you have leverage in one aspect. So in terms of podcasting, who do you have access to? Who can you interview? What are you good at? What are you knowledgeable in? What kind of leverage do you have in that specific area or topic of expertise? Or know someone that has knowledge or expertise in that area? Because I do not know everything, but I may know somebody who does. Where do you have leverage? Leverage could also be the amount of money that you have. Do you have money to invest in the podcast, or pay for a higher production, or pay for marketing? Leverage could mean anything, but utilize leverage. So I'll leave that with this. Think right now what you could take advantage of. Think about what you have leverage in. Think about you individually. Do you have any particular characteristics that are really good about you or bad about you? Because you can lean into the bad, you can lean into the good. Think about where you have leverage in whatever it is that you're doing. It could, albeit stocks, sports, business, podcasting, entertainment, whatever it is, think about your leverage. Now, money. This is a fun one. this is the one everybody wants to know. Oh, how can I make money doing this? If you've been podcasting, or if you are in business and you're like, how do they make money doing this? There's so many different ways. Okay. I'll start with AdSense. Multiple forms of social media have AdSense, and they pay you so much per number of views. Before you can get paid, though, for those views, there's certain requirements that you have to meet. YouTube has a certain set of requirements. Spotify has a certain set of requirements. You have to have enough numbers to show them that, hey, I am worth being paid something. And even once you have those numbers, you need a lot. You need a lot to get paid some. Different social media platforms pay differently. YouTube has generally been known as the king in terms of AdSense or just payout. But there's very many ways to do that. I think Spotify currently is also rolling out a new way of getting paid, where they pay you a portion of the subscription fee that people pay to Spotify. Don't know how that's going to work, but who knows? All I know is that podcasting has been growing for the past few years, and it is continuing to grow. We have not seen it plateau yet. It is still on the incline. Social media in general too. It's just been paying people like crazy. Another way of making money on this is sponsorships. You can charge them for pre-roll, mid-roll, or post-roll ad readings. Essentially, let's say you get every single week you post a podcast or a video, you get 100,000 views. That company that is now going to get seen 100,000 times, whether they watch the entire ad or not, at least their presence. Marketing is about being seen, not being sold. Typically, it takes like 90 days to actually get somebody to trust a brand enough to be able to buy something. So sponsorships, sponsors are looking for people who can essentially sell a product, right? And get in front of 100,000 people and get a few sales from it, and make the cost that they spent this person, company, or whatever it is that's doing the advertising low enough so that way they can make enough sales to justify that expense. Hope I'm saying that really well, but essentially that's how sponsorship works. You can do it at the beginning of this video, the middle, or the end of this video, and they'll pay so much for that. And then depending on your audience, they should be able to trust you. So you guys should be able to trust me whenever I have a sponsor come my way. I know some people are, I guess, what they would call sellouts. And I'm not saying that I won't ever do that, because maybe I'm in a pinch and need something. But essentially, they'll sell something that they don't trust the product, but they're just trying to make, like, this company gave them, okay, let's just use it as an example. Let's say this person gets 1 million views a video, and this company was like, hey, we want to give you $100,000 to market this on your channel for your next video that's coming up in the next month, whatever it is. Here's the script. We need you to read it. Sometimes that's hard to turn down, especially if you don't have, I guess, the character built in you to be able to turn it down, or like you're running low on money. The last few videos didn't do very good. It probably does get difficult. It depends on how you structure your business, but I don't want to get too far into sponsorships, because it can get a little like convoluted. You can make a whole video just on the money side of things, but we'll leave it with that. We'll just talk about the AdSense, the sponsorships, the cost per mil, and then we can also talk about affiliate marketing, where essentially you can go on Amazon right now, you can sign up for an account, and then essentially put a link in your description of wherever you post anything. And if somebody clicks that link, then within 24 hours, they buy anything on Amazon, you get a percentage of that payment, which could actually be really helpful. I know people like years in the past have also made money off of that. Like people clicking a video that's like 4 years old, and now they're making money off of it. By the way, the AdSense for YouTube kind of works like dividends and stocks, where essentially, even if you're getting like another 4-year-old video that you've already made money on, let's say it's now 10 years old, you could still be making money on that 10-year-old video. So when you post a video once, it's going to make money for years down the road. So there's multiple ways to make money. In terms of podcasting, I have not actually made any money at all yet. This is a labor of love, if you will. I thought about potentially doing some like local businesses that I actually really think they're really good, and charging them money essentially to do all the marketing and stuff like that for them, or even podcasting for other people, where I can move there remotely to their house, wherever it is. And maybe this is a good business idea for you guys. You would buy all the equipment, buy the setup, put it up in the back of a car. You just need to be able to obviously break it down, but that's actually what I do for that big black background. We set up at another location with a big table, and that's where we record from. So you could literally do podcasts for other people remotely. You can be mobile. You can go do it for somebody else, record, edit the podcast, maybe even help them with the script, do all the editing and post it out. So like podcasting actually could be a business idea for you in general. There's so many different ways to make money with this. But I'll finish this money section off with selling people. That could be your audience. That could be the marketers. That could be literally anybody. It's just selling people, right? The hook needs to be appetizing. Essentially, you're pitching. You're always pitching like a business idea. You want to make it understandable. You want to quantify. People like numbers. Numbers are always convincing and super enticing. You also want to be succinct. You want to be able to tell your story in like 30 seconds. And then you want to be compelling. You want to be really passionate. You don't want to just be in it, man. You want to be into it. You want to be like fired up about whatever that thing is that you're doing. And if you respect their time, they'll respect your time. That's how you sell somebody. Right? You are in it. You're showing numbers. Dude, this is a proven track record. This is how it's going to work. I'm like super concise. This is plan A, B, C, and D. I never steered you wrong, right? I trust in this product that you're about to give me to sell to my audience, because my audience trusts me. And that's how you sell people, right? You build a relationship over time. We actually have by the way, we have a podcast, How to Sell Anything. It's with Travis McCoy. I don't even remember what the episode title is, but you should be able to find it. It's somewhere on the channel. I'll leave you guys with that, because that episode is actually a really good one. It's also a pretty good book on selling. Definitely works really well. The next one is production, and I broke this one up into multiple steps for you guys because it's a lot. If you're not in the world of podcasting, you can use this pretty much for whatever you're doing. I'm going to relate to it in terms of YouTube and podcasting in general, but you can use this for a lot of stuff. So obviously we're breaking this down into bite-sized bits, but we're going to break it down even further for production. We're going to do the idea in person, scheduling, pre-production setup, recording, editing, and the thumbnail, the upload and review, episode chapters, reels, and then actually posting it, right? So the idea in person, this stuff is like really exciting for me. I love this stuff. You got to vet your speakers. By this point in the episode, if you're asking somebody to be on the podcast, you obviously have a reason, but if you vet them, it'll help better navigate you. So essentially, you want to ask them some questions beforehand. Like anybody, obviously, that makes sense. You want to ask them if there's any topics they want to explore. What would make this time well spent for them? And just remind them that there's nothing they need to worry about saying, because you guys can cut it out. Bathroom breaks, need to restate something. And if somebody ever asks them what's the best interview that they've ever been on, you want them to be able to say this current interview, right? You don't want to force them to say that. You want them to be able to say that. So by asking them these questions, you will help build a better episode. And we'll get into that, because you also need to script your episodes out. Not exactly, but you do need a skeleton for that. And we'll get into that in a second. But that's the idea in person, right? Like, you have the idea, you have the kind of episode that you want to do. You have a person maybe that's well suited for this episode. Ask them questions. Help build the episode together. Because you know what? You're not the expert. They are. Maybe you are. Okay. Sure. Whatever. Maybe you're very knowledgeable in this. Maybe people like you. Okay. But still, involve them. A little bit of teamwork helps. Next thing is scheduling. Obviously, scheduling is super boring. Nobody ever wants to do it. It's really tedious. I don't like scheduling personally, me. but I did find something very exciting to share with you. I found this when I was like deep in the trenches getting this thing going before I ever recorded my first episode. It is a email script actually from very well-known podcaster Tim Ferriss. He's been in the industry a long time, really successful, really good at what he does. But this is an email script, and you are more than welcome to use it because I have. It works. It's really concise. I'll just get to it. Dear so-and-so, I know you're really busy and that you get a lot of emails, so this will only take 60 seconds to read. And then, here's what you say, who you are, add 1 or 2 lines to establish your credibility. Then, you want to ask your very specific question. Then finish it off with this. I totally understand if you're too busy to respond, but even a 1 or 2 line reply would really make my day. All the best, Joseph. So essentially what you're saying is, dear whoever it is, I know you're really busy and get a lot of emails, so it only takes 60 seconds to read. You're already respecting their time. Like I said, when you're selling somebody, you respect their time and they'll respect yours. Then you say who you are. I'm Joseph. You add 1 or 2 lines of your credibility. I've been doing this a year. I'm very experienced in this area. I really think that you blah, 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 blah. And then you ask your very specific question. I really would like you to be on my episode, or I would really like you to do this for me because I think yada, yada, yada. And then finish it with like, I totally understand if you're too busy. Just a 1 or 2 line response would make my day. Then they're more inclined to say, hey man, sorry, I can't do it right now. Now you just got a response back, probably from somebody famous, okay, which is kind of cool. But then you also now it's like, hey man, yeah, no problem. Let's link up sometime. Or like, hey man, let's figure it out. They'll be more genuine with you because you're being more genuine with them. So super helpful. I've used it before. It actually does work. Very exciting. And then we'll bring it back to the script, right? The vetting of your speaker and working with them to get it set up. The reason you want to work on that quote unquote script is what I refer to in like podcasting, right? Because we don't do it live. I want to make sure that they're well protected being out on social media, but there is bullet points, right? Like you don't just get on a show and you just shoot the breeze. That's what most people do. Maybe that is what you want to do. That's not what I want to do. I actually want to create something of value, so that takes time to be able to do it well, right? Anything worth doing is going to be difficult. It is what it is. So create bullet points to follow a script, because if you don't follow that linear script, you'll be doing this and you won't even go this way. You'll do this and then you'll just shoot back. I don't know. Editor, do something with that if you're watching. But essentially scripts keep you on point. And the script is like a skeleton, or like the structure, right? Like the metal in a building. It holds everything up. Think about your body. You have your skeletal system, your muscular system, your nervous system. We can talk about all the different systems. It doesn't really matter, but we're going to focus on those 3. Your muscle moves the skeleton. Your muscle moves the structure. Your nervous system is what tells your muscles to move that structure. Think of it as your skeleton is those bullet points. Your muscle is the actor and the podcaster or whoever it is talking, like me right now, making a performance. I have my script. I'm following the script. It is not exact. I'm coming up with some of this stuff as I see it. I am not following it verbatim at all, but I'm delivering a performance that's linear, following the script. And now the editor, right, the neuromuscular side to it, is all of the production that goes into it to be able to perform this for you better. But if you don't have a script, you can't even give that actor or the person who's supposed to deliver a performance a directive or direction to go in. So like I said, come up with a script, work with them. The next thing is the recording. Actually recording an episode is, and I'm just going to focus more on podcasting. There's a few things that we can talk about. I'm going to give you pretty much 4 and then just a little tip. Really listen, play devil's advocate, go deeper, and challenge. Challenge could be you, challenge could be them, but those are things that could actually really help when recording an episode. Is the first one's so obvious, really listen, but it's really difficult to always do that unless you are practiced in it. when I recorded my first one, I truly realized how bad I was at actually listening to people. It was awful. So maybe if you're not into podcasting, record yourself trying to do a podcast and just see how bad you don't listen. Okay. I know. So I'm not saying all of you are really bad listeners. What I'm saying is that we can all be better listeners, right? That's how I'm going to say that. And the last thing for recording is actually from a guy named Musashi, he actually was the world's greatest samurai. Come at me, okay? He was the best. Get out of here. It's actually your stance and strategy and your gaze and strategy. You know what? I'll put it in the description so that way I don't have to read the entire thing, but it is really good. It talks about how you should stand, how you should posture yourself, how you should look, how you should be focused and intent about what you're doing. This guy is talking about literally about to battle, about to duel someone for life, okay? Life or death. So he's locked in. This guy, I think, fought like 60 duels, not losing one. And some of them were against multiple people at the same time. So he knows a thing or two about your stance and strategy and your gaze and strategy. I don't care if you're golfing, if you're swinging a baseball bat. I know it's like very sword movements, but if you're podcasting, business, whatever it is, you need to be locked in. You need focus. And this little thing is something I read every single time before I record anything, outside of first praying. I don't care who you are. If you don't think you need prayer, you probably do. Whoever it is you pray to, I don't know. For me personally, I'm not going to be successful if I don't pray. I've tried. It was moderately okay, but it definitely is not as good as it would be if I pray. Guaranteed, pray, okay? So maybe step one, pray. Really listen, play devil's advocate, go deeper, challenge, and then just, help lock yourself in. Moving on, statistics. For this, I really didn't know how to do this, honestly. I'm just going to talk about my personal statistics for the podcast for this year. These are just statistics literally from today, the last day in 2024, from the first day in January 1st. That's when I posted my first episode, January 1st. I'm going to try to post this January 1st. I don't know if I'll be able to. Don't really have much time to be able to get this done, but I did record these stats for you guys. Also for myself. We could look at it year to year. So starting with YouTube. I got 151,000 views, 2.1 thousand watch hours, and 13.1 thousand subscribers. Those are phenomenal numbers for my first year into podcasting. Now, let's look at it a little granular, not too granular. We're going to keep everything broad, okay? We're going to look at YouTube, Spotify, and then just take a glance at Apple Podcasts just out of curiosity. I'm primarily trying to keep things on YouTube and Spotify. I'm also on different social medias like TikTok, which is actually going to be phased out now. Whatever. And then Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. We can be more and more if you guys want, but for now, I'm trying to kind of focus more on the YouTube, Spotify kind of route. But anyways, the views. You could see when I started from January to somewhere about May, they weren't as much. We had a few spikes later on. They got flat again, and then they started picking up. You can see where they picked up, and they kind of got flat again. But those little bumps along the way, love them. Look great. Wouldn't change a thing. From January till about May were all those pre-recorded episodes I had, the 12 that I still needed to get out. And this is around the time, January to May, where I'm realizing I'm kind of a failure. I've had a lot of fails and lessons learned and hours spent, late nights, no sleep. And then I started recording and just kind of posting whenever I can. And you can actually kind of see those little clips whenever I posted episodes, and kind of maybe some of the spikes when they got posted. Posting more often usually helps. What I do, I spend a lot of time on production, so it's hard for me to post as often as I want to. I also work a full-time job and also do side gigs whenever I can. And I got a family. So one, that's not to brag. That is to say, You can do it. I don't care what you're doing. You can figure it out and squeeze in some time for it if I can. I am not always successful in everything, but I do try my hardest. So let's move on. Watch hours. There's 2,100 watch hours. You could just see the spikes. We'll just leave that be what it is. And then the subscribers, 13.1K. There's some massive spikes. Okay, I can explain those. Essentially, throughout the year, you can see from January till about August, it's kind of flat. But believe it or not, I didn't pay for subs. What I did is I paid for marketing, and I actually did that in January all the way to August. I spent a good bit of money in marketing. Nothing was popping off. Then randomly, one or two of the videos just like started popping off, with like putting a little bit of ad money behind it, and boom, got to about 13.1. I met the 1,000 subscriber goal that I needed to, and then I just kind of left it. I'm like, I have not made a single dime from this podcast at all yet, which is fine. 13.1 is a lot. I don't even know if they're real or not. I'm still excited about the numbers. I'm just happy that anyone is watching these episodes, to be honest with you. But yeah, those are the numbers. Not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I put money into marketing because if you have a business, if you have something you want people to see, you should be able to put your money behind it. You should be able to back up your words with action. And that's what I did. Yeah, I put money behind it because I really think some of the stuff is valuable. Is some of it goofy, silly, and funny? Sure. Yeah, but some of it is also educational. Like the sales book I just recommended to you. Something else I was going to show you too is just the age and gender. I don't know, just thought it was fun. There's a lot of 25 to 34-year-olds out there. Shout out to you guys. I'm within that age range. That's so much fun. That's so cool. 74% male, 25% female. That's surprising. I thought it was going to be pretty male dominant, but heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. And then user specified, 0.1%. One of you out there is something. I don't know what you are. I didn't know where to take that joke, but whatever. We'll just leave it be what it is. On Spotify, we'll look at, so on Spotify, I got 261 streams, 46 consumption hours, 9 followers. That's pretty much it. We'll just look at followers, because you can kind of see it, the scale of it is steps, which is also pretty cool. Some are longer, some are shorter. But man, 9 followers on Spotify. Dude, that's sick. Like, that's so exciting. Across all the platforms is basically just Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have a total of 506 plays over the year. That is huge for me. 8 plays per episode. Audience size of 8 across all the platforms. Like, that's so cool to me. You can look at it daily, weekly, and monthly and kind of see the difference. I like looking at it monthly because it gives you a better spread of how these are being viewed. Whenever, like I said, if you post more often, those views are going to be better because you're going to have more stuff for people to latch onto, more content for them to watch. Being a one-man band and getting a little bit of help here and there is pretty difficult, especially with all the other stuff that I have going on. I would say if you could just do this full time, you'll probably see more growth than me. I've learned quite a lot and I put a lot of time in, but yeah, if you're a man or woman on a mission and you just got the time or money to put everything into this, I would do it. That's your leverage, right? Like, you could have money, you could be single, you could have a family. Both of those could be viewed as leverage. Doesn't matter. Find your leverage and just make it work, right? The only thing you can do is just to do it. So with that being said, we'll just look at the age real quick and gender just on Spotify, just for funsies. Lots of babies out there. Lots of 0 to 17. Lots of very, very small children watching my stuff. All right, we'll look at Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts is 8 followers, 28 listeners, 218 plays, 13 hours of time consumption. That's pretty much all I did for that one. And then we'll close this bad boy out. Not before giving you the super secret top tip. Just do it. don't know, whatever it is you're thinking about doing, just do it. You don't know until you try. That's what my mommy always told me. You don't know until you try. And once you try, you'll know what works and what doesn't work, or if something's for you, or if it's just not for you. Like me, I might be interested in stocks, trading futures, stuff like that. But every time I try, I just can't get into it. You know, it could be anything. Still interested actually in stocks, by the way. Still learning over time. I think it's a future Joseph thing that he's gonna get into. No pun intended. But for the time being, it's just not happening right now. I am just like locked in on this, my family, my job, and then the little side business helps me be able to do this and then also take care of my family better. So I'll close with this. If you liked the episode, if you learned from it, you felt inspired, or maybe I don't know, whatever you got from it, dude, just share it, like it, I don't know, something like that. But either way, thank you for watching. The tip that I have for that is to always thank your audience, because without them, none of it would be possible. Sure, you might have money to set everything up. You might have the production value. You might have all this stuff, but truly, at the end of the day, it is about your audience, whether you succeed or fail in that. And success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Fantastic quote. I'm sure you've heard me say it many times, because I am successful. I am realizing the thing that it is that I want to do. I don't care if you're a grocery store owner, if you own a small business, you own a big business, you're an entrepreneur, you are working your way up the ladder in a company, you're making $20,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $600,000 a year. I don't care. If you're doing whatever it is you want to do and you're successful, then you are successful. If you are actively working at your dream, I consider you a success. I don't care if nobody likes it. As long as you are working your way towards it, you are successful. Now, yeah, you could be bad at it and you just might not actually be successful in it, but the idea of success is kind of personal. And as long as you are realizing that goal, as long as it's a worthy goal or idea, that is success. But anyways, that's my closing tip. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It has been a pleasure to be able to create this stuff for you and have you guys engage with it and watch it. It's actually really, it's very humbling. Okay. All the failure. It is extremely humbling. I question myself. I know I was just closing, but now I'm sounding like a preacher on a pulpit. Every time I go to make any of these episodes, even the one now, I still question myself. Why would anybody want to listen to me? Why would anyone want to listen to the things that I have to say? What makes me special? What makes me the main character in this story, right? And not somebody else. Who is this guy? Who am I? So what I'm trying to get at is thank you. Thank you for watching this. If you've got up to this point, if you watched a minute of it, I appreciate it. I've had people tell me out in public, hey man, I like the episode. You have no idea how much that actually means to me, because I put a lot of time. I put a lot of effort into every single episode. Sometimes it takes a lot longer. Sometimes it's faster. Sometimes I am emotionally attached, emotionally unattached. It could go either way. But my point is just thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. And like always, I hope to get better and look forward to next year. Thanks.